From NAB, Backblaze isn't just for backups anymore. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide ensures only secure devices can access your cloud apps. It's zero trust, tailor-made for Okta. Book a demo today at kolide.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it would not be NAB without a stop at Backblaze to talk to Yev Pusin about what's new with Backblaze. Yev, it's great to see you.
Good to see you as always, Chuck.
So, how are things going?
Things are going great. We're growing. We're a couple of years past our IPO now. We went public recently, so we're deploying all that capital on a bunch of cool R&D. We're here with a lot of partners, highlighting B2 Cloud Storage and what we can do for people's workflows in the production field. So it's really cool. I have a little saying, which is we're just here to connect you with the right people that we work with. We're just the back end for a lot of people's data, right? And so we have a lot of partners kind of all over the place, and especially behind our booth here, and we just walk folks over. We ask them what their workflow is, how they produce stuff, where they are in the production pipeline, and then we know exactly where we can slot in and save them some money and keep their data safe.
Okay, so let's talk about that. First of all, before we talk about that, everybody knows Backblaze as the solution they want to go to back up their local machines.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about that so much. If you don't know, folks, go to backblaze.com and sign up, because you should. But talk a little bit about that workflow situation.
Yeah. So
is it? Are you an endpoint destination, or are you in the workflow?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chuck. So yes, for endpoint backup, right? Computer backup, which your customers know and love. That's our original product line, and it's what we built out when we first started kind of our giant, server farms. It was in order to help people back up their Macs and PCs. And what we heard was, hey, that's great, but can you please allow us to talk directly to your data center, right? And so that became the basis for B2 Cloud Storage. It's API based. It's it's S3 compatible cloud storage. And so it is an endpoint for people's data. Now, where we slot in their workflow depends rather on the tools that they're using. So let's say you're a small production company and you just put everything on a QNAP in your office, right? You have 5 people and then you have a little NAS drive or something. Very common. But that NAS drive has 10, 15, 20 terabytes on it or something along those lines, right? We're directly integrated into that system, and you can say hey, anything that hits the QNAP, also send it to B2 Cloud Storage. That way, if anything happens to the device, similar to our backup product, they have a copy somewhere else, kind of writes itself. So that's one particular use case. And we scale from there. So we have companies that have petabytes upon petabytes of data that are backing up with us. Good Eats was a good example of a company that they just wanted to make sure that all of the archival footage that they had of Alton Brown's old episodes were kept somewhere as they were shooting new ones, so that they could pull from the back catalog and intermix them with some of the new episodes that they were shooting. And they chose Backblaze as a destination because it was easy and an affordable place to store the data. And so they were able to get it and start using it. A lot of times people think about their data in terms of archiving, and they think about that as a one-way destination where if it's archived, it'll just be there forever. And it's in case of emergency, break glass and pull the data out. But what we're finding is that once people understand how affordable it is to archive your data, especially with a service like Backblaze B2, you can start being creative with how you want to use it and then reusing that data. So back catalogs all of a sudden are becoming a lot more lucrative, because then you can pull out little clips and start using that to further your current business. So that was a very long-winded answer, but hopefully it was a little bit all-encompassing. The TLDR for the viewers is, if you have data, it can live inside of Backblaze. B2 Cloud Storage is what we're here at NAB with, because for media workflows and the production environment, regardless of where you're at in that spectrum, we can grab your data from it.
Your answer was completely on point, because you're absolutely right. I tend to think of Backblaze, because of the way I use it, right, as, okay, now it's there, and it's there if I need it, and that's kind of it. But the Good Eats is a great example because I'm sure they're not just storing the archived episodes, but they're probably also, I'm not asking you to tell me if
Sure.
you shouldn't, but they're most likely archiving the raw materials so that they can then make use of that as well.
And a lot of companies do give us the raw data as well. It's not just the archive. Like the archive is, people that are kind of budget conscious and they don't want to host it like on premises on very expensive servers, they'll send it off and archive it somewhere. And we're great for that. But because B2 is hot cloud storage, you can use the data, and if it's raw, like we have partnerships with a company that I like, and I find their UI to be very simple to use, simple enough for me to use, which is very important. I'm a simple man. It's called Iconic, and so Iconic is a great partner for us because it allows people to like upload data into B2 cloud storage. Iconic can scan the documents inside the buckets where the data lives, like the video files. It'll put tags on them. It'll build out proxy files. You can take a look at them. And so you can start like editing with the proxy files. And then as you need the data, you're just pulling it down from Backblaze. So like it really opens up like a whole new world once your data's in the cloud. And whatever tools you're using to manipulate that data, whether it's like for personal use or if you're like a giant production company or firm, once your data's in us, you can use it however you want. Right? And so that really is the main benefit. We say like endpoint protection for like the computer backup business, and this is an endpoint for your data where it can live, but it's also a place where it can originate, right? So we are an origin store for a lot of our partners and customers, and so the data flows, it lives in us, but then it flows out of us, and so it kind of makes Backblaze like more of a fulcrum, right, than an endpoint or a destination. We have a lot of, we consider them application companies or companies that are building on top of our ecosystem and infrastructure, using our partners and building out products and services directly from Backblaze. And so when your data lives inside of us, it kind of unleashes a whole world of possibilities. So that's the fulcrum analogy. Like once your data's there, you can do whatever you want with it.
And it makes so much sense, but a lot of us are starting to work through. I mean, the cloud's been around for a while,
yeah.
But I think a lot of folks are just figuring out now what can be done with the cloud as opposed to just, well, that's where I stick stuff to have it accessible everywhere.
That's right. And like another good example, so a lot, we're here at NAB, so there's a lot of media production companies, obviously. There's a lot of production houses, and a lot of them went remote during the pandemic, right? So like when back in, a couple of years ago, everyone was together working in the same room, and then that reality kind of shifted and changed. And so that made having your data in a cloud solution so much more impactful, because now you can do like collaborative editing, like from across the world, across the globe. And so really the more kind of people dip their toe in, the more they're like, oh wait, this thing, and light bulbs go off. And that's why we bring in a lot of solutions engineers to NAB. We do have some marketing people and some sales people, but we bring a lot of our solutions engineers because a lot of the conversations that we have inside the booth are things like, oh, I was thinking about doing this thing, and we're like, oh, okay, like let's spec that out. Like maybe we can build something for you with some of our partners. Yeah. And that's a lot more fun and a lot more impactful for the show.
So the website where folks can go to learn a lot more about everything.
Yeah, Backblaze.com. So we have the two products, computer backup, our original product, that's endpoint protection for your Macs and PCs. And then we have B2 Cloud Storage, which is what we're here at NAB 2023 for. Backblaze.com, Backblaze. You can go there, learn all about it. I know I can spell it, but that's taken 12 years to cultivate. It's really tough. I have to think about it as I'm saying it. But yeah, Backblaze.com, we'd love to see you there.
Should we tell them tell them that Yev sent them?
Yeah. Oh, tell them that Yev sent me. Yes, absolutely. Or tell them that Yev sent me. Good Lord. This is Yev sending you to Backblaze.
Yes. We will do this again right here next year.
Same time, same venue, maybe slightly different location.
But we'll do it. But here at NAB. Sounds good. Good to see you, Yev. Thank you.
Cheers, Chuck. Thank you much.
Folks, more from NAB in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, Consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.